Alright. Let me turn that down a little bit. Yeah. Alright. The other day, I was in my Buddhist group, in the parents group, and so it's inevitable. We're going to talk about parenting and Buddhism. And, this experience happened that, it got under my skin. It really pissed me off. But at the same time, I knew that it was coming from a place of honest ignorance. And so I had to try and remember the grace that is in my name to give to this woman, this mom. And you know what? I had to also humble myself and remind myself that I used to be in a way like her, in this way of ignorance. So what was it that she said? Well, I had shared my experience, and I had talked about single motherhood. And I'm beginning to realize more and more over the years that people don't really know what single parenthood and motherhood looks like. Because you know what, single motherhood is very different than single fatherhood. I have no idea what single fatherhood is like, but what I can see is it feels very different than single motherhood. One's not better or worse. And maybe I'm wrong about that too, because I don't know, single motherhood seems a lot more tough in this kind of world, because there's something within many mothers that it's a different level of showing security and protection to your children in your home. And if you're doing it by yourself, you don't have community or family around you, then it's quite different. It's quite hard to be so prideful in your ways. Anyways, so I explained that I was a single mother and talking about how, in terms of how the pandemic has been affecting us, and, just trying to, but now the world's like opening up a little more again, trying to find outlets that help my son and myself have that socialization part that has been missing for quite a while. And Davey and I have tried to make that happen more and more, even throughout the pandemic, but it just been hard to make it stick. People either don't want to commit to a deeper relationship, or when you finally commit, all of a sudden shit hits the fan and they just run away, and they don't know how to come back to a conversation, take accountability, try again. They just leave. So again, we're talking about with single motherhood, that this just feels harder to handle this reality. And I've known what it is to be both a single mother and a mother who was married. I've also grown up with a single mom, or a mom who was single, and she was on and off single, and she had 3 children. And so but I also, the kind of way that we grew up was different than how Davey's growing up. Davey has 2 homes, whereas with my mom, we just had the one home. We never lived with our dad. We never stayed with our dad. If we ever saw our dad, it was like a couple times a year, maybe, and we would go stay at a motel. I never saw his home until the later part of his life, when I was a teenager, and he finally stuck. He had a home, and it was a little mother-in-law, like ADU style cottage in the back of someone's home, because he didn't have a lot of money, and that was finally he had a home, but we barely stayed there too, and it was always very awkward at that point to stay at our dad's home. Anyways, going back to this talk of what this other Buddhist mother had said. She enters the conversation with, "Thank you so much for sharing your experience. you know, I myself don't know what it is to be a single mother. You know, I have a partner. However, sometimes I feel like a single mom because I'm alone at home all day, and I'm like, and I know that she was coming from a sweet place of trying to relate, so perhaps so that I don't feel alone, or that to just show that she can have a level of compassion for me. Um, but you know, I remember when I used to be that fool who would say, when I was married, I would say to some other moms, yeah, it feels like I'm a single mom because my husband's never around. He works like 60-hour work weeks. Um, but you know what? As I became a single mom, like, wow, I was full of shit. Like, it's totally different. You don't have someone else that's helping to bring home the bread, you know, the money. You don't have someone who's there to switch off and take the kids every single day. Even if they don't take the kids, it's just another adult that's there. You don't have their family that's connected anymore. At least with me, in my case, his family divorced me just as when my husband and I divorced. They cut me out of their lives. They even cut me off of their phone plan, even though I had no money, even though that was the phone number I'd had since I was a kid. Um, you know, and I don't have someone else who's there to help take care of the cleanup, who's there to help take care of the cooking, someone who's there to go run errands, someone who's there for when you're sick, they'll go and get you things, and it's just there all the time. And if you have a partner, you know, they're gonna care more about doing those things for you and the children, because you're theirs in a way. You're their property all of a sudden. You're their I'm going to say family, but you know what? I learned so much how very much not it's very conditional if you're family to your partner or not, especially their family. You definitely, if you're not of blood, you are way lower on the totem pole. And, you know, and then if you divorce, then they could care less about you. They don't care if you're sick. They don't care if you're dying. They don't care if you're in peril. This is coming from someone who, like, even when we had the Oregon fires and I was told that I might have to evacuate, the state said might have to evacuate. I asked for sanctuary from my husband and my husband's family, and they ignored me. They didn't even respond. They did take Davey though, and my ex. So anyways, I just kept my mouth shut to this woman because I'm like, you don't know. And you know what? If you're lonely all day, you can go, in terms of the socialization aspect of things, go find yourself a friend. You know, go find your kids some friends. You know, just as I've been doing for Davey. I can't keep whining and complaining of, oh, there's no one around. You know what? There's 7.5+ billion people on this planet. There are people around. Now, finding someone who gives a damn about when you're sick, or if there's an argument, and sticking around and doing the mature thing of talking it out, checking on each other, making sure each other has groceries, being able to ask for favors back and forth in a balanced way where it's not like it has to be, okay, you have to pay me for my gas now, or you have to pay me for this, or this is my very precious time. Like, you know, just people being kind with each other, people, the humanity of it, and not strings attached kind of thing. And I just, and so I realized that, I don't know, this inspiration has been coming up in me that I'd like to create a video of what it is to actually be a single mother, versus a mother who has that kind of community that might include a partner or family or friends who treat you like your family. And when I say family, you know, they'll, even if you guys are mad at each other, they'll make sure that you both will make sure that you're okay, and that you're gonna work through your problems, you're gonna solve it, you're gonna work on not exactly compromise, but like just talking things out, being transparent, and seeing how can we work through this. How can we understand each other and support each other better? But yeah, any married or committed or parent in commitment out there, please stop saying that you know what it's like to be a single parent, unless you've actually been one. You don't know what single parenthood is. So stop saying it, because you know what? It's like white people saying, I understand what the struggle of people of color is, because sometimes I have received racism in my life, and no, you don't understand what it is to fear for your life. You don't know what it is to not get that job because you were someone of color. You don't know what it is to be denied like government services because someone judged the book because of their own racism tendencies and stereotyping tendencies. You don't know what it is to grow up with, my mother was someone who had slightly more color to her skin and a thick accent. People would literally say to my mother, and because my sister and I, we look white, they would say, you're not their mother. You must be the nanny. You don't know. Okay, so please, if you're trying to do the whole thing of like, I know what you're coming from, that's not gonna be, that's so ignorant, okay? Instead, how about ask more questions of, oh, what is it like to be a single mother? I honestly don't know. All I know is what I know. I'm willing to learn more though. Instead of just choosing ignorance in order to be like, this is how I show compassion. You know what? That's very basic level of showing compassion in this world. And hey, the well-meaning, the well-intentions are there. I don't care. If you're not gonna try harder, why do I gotta try harder for you? I'm not here to be your teacher. Like, honestly, go read a book. Go listen to a YouTube. Why don't you ask questions to people who are people of color or people who are single parents? Ask them what it's like to gain insight into their world, instead of trying to relate to something, an experience you've never experienced yourself. Like, truly. Anyways, that's it. Jesus. Right. Here's some music. Alright, bye everyone.